Welcome to Awake to Oneness Radio. I am Caroline Chang, your host. The mission of Awake to Oneness Radio is to inspire the world to awaken to the universal truth of oneness. Science is teaching us that all life is interconnected and interdependent, meaning that we are all one. And ancient wisdom and spirituality has been teaching this for eons. So what you do to another person, you're literally doing to another aspect of yourself. And when mankind awakens to the truth of oneness, there will be peace on earth. Today's show topic is the Book of Truth with Paul Selig. Did I pronounce it correctly, Paul?
Selig is correct.
Selig. Okay. All right. I'm trying. I'm trying to pronounce names correctly. I hope. But Paul is our guest. I'm so thankful to have him. And I just started reading the book a few weeks ago. Thank you so much for sending me a copy.
Mm-hmm.
I wish you had autographed it, but that's okay. I'll see you're in New York. You're not far. So I'm going to find you, sign my book. Okay. All right. Paul, can you please share with our listeners your journey? Your journey of awakening, your path, and share that, because I have been following you on YouTube. I've started to read the book, so I know a little bit, but let's catch our listeners up to date.
All right. Well, I was born in New York City. I was raised something of an atheist. When I was 25, I hit a real wall in my life. I was a year out of graduate school at Yale. I had a career that seemed to be going okay. I had a list of things I thought I had to achieve in the world that I thought would make me good and enough. And I got the whole list and I wasn't okay. And really out of sheer necessity, more than any desire for spirituality, I began to reach for something more. I ended up having a bit of an experience at 25 of energy. I don't know what really happened. I started seeing little lights around people, maybe as a result of that, maybe not. I have no idea in retrospect. But my context for the world was beginning to change very rapidly. I was feeling energy. I was seeing little lights. I'd heard a voice telling me to get my act together after I had started praying for the first time in my life. I studied a form of energy healing after seeing healers for a period of time to get some more understanding, and I studied. And I was volunteering at a center in New York City that was providing services for people with life-challenging illness. It was the height of the AIDS epidemic in New York. And I had my hands on people and started to hear things for them. And what I was hearing would later be verified by the client. So I was opening up first as a clairaudient, and then also as a physical empath, which is something that I still do. I started to feel what was going on in people's bodies or their emotional selves. And again, I was being shown as accurate, so I continued to learn to trust it and develop it. I had a little group that met in my apartment for about 18 years, on and off, where I was sitting in the energy and delivering, I would say, messages, but I wasn't working as a spiritual meeting, and I don't even know that I would have called it channeling in those days, but I was channeling. But my system was being developed. In about 2009, my guides, first, about 2009, it was 2009, yeah. My guides announced to somebody in the group that they had a book to write, and if I would take 2 weeks, they would do it. And that was the beginning of the books. I had begun lecturing in channel without really realizing it. I'd quit smoking about a year before that, and that really upgraded my whole system and my ability to work with my own central nervous system, I think, which is important in my work. But they've since delivered 5 books. The Book of Truth is the 5th book. I don't think any of them have taken probably more than 30 days of sittings. The books are the unedited transcripts of these sessions. And I do workshops now all over the world where my guides do them. I show up and I sit in the chair and I take dictation, which is really my job as a channel. I have a practice also as an empath or psychic, if you wish. But I work with the living, and I have this odd ability to hear people. So if you want to know what's going on with your sister, who you haven't talked to in 5 years, I can probably step into your sister. I may begin to take on her mannerisms or appearance, and then I'll tell you what I hear. So I'm sort of a switchboard for consciousness. That's what I do now. And my primary work is with the guides.
Beautiful. Now, when you say you work with the living, so do you mean that the sister is still on this side?
Sister's still on this side. Yeah. I mean, if she's crossed, I can probably get her as she was. I do that fairly frequently. If you have unresolved issues with a parent, I'll tune into the dynamic that was present when you were a child. If your parent wants to come through from wherever they are, they may. But that's not my primary work. I've been called a medium for the living because it seems to be sort of an odd skill set.
And I believe we're all so, I mean, I listen to many channels and mediums, and my son is on the other side. He actually, it'll be 3 years ago, July 1st. Was when he transitioned, and I did have one session, and it's so amazing. I don't know if you ever heard of EVP, which I just learned about, which is electronic voice phenomena. I was having a session with a medium, a very evidential, credible medium, Suzanne Giesman, and my son was literally trying to speak through her computer. And we actually have his voice on tape. So I love sharing that story because it was the first time I ever had a sitting, and to have that evidential, audible voice on tape is so amazing. It's so amazing. Yeah. Yes. So, but yes, I know that mediums and channels are all unique. You know, they channel and they bring it through their body as a vessel. Yes. And so that's amazing. So amazing. But I think this is the first time I've heard anyone say that they actually can tap into someone who's still on this side. Because usually it's someone on the other side. Yeah.
Well, we're all playing a transmission, and I just seem to have the ability to feel and know or hear what other people are thinking. I mean, it's just really possibly a form of telepathy. I really don't know, but it's how I work. So, you know, I've had some success with people that have no voice at all. People, you know, with disabilities or you know, as well as the living. Yeah. So it's a useful tool. I was filmed for a television show called The Unexplained a few years ago, reading for a woman, and she just told me she had problems with her son, who was 13, and I stepped into the son and essentially became him and took on all of his mannerisms, but he had, you know, cerebral palsy, and he'd never spoken a word, but I was becoming him and speaking, you know, quite clearly as him. So it's an interesting, it was pretty shocking. I didn't know what was going on, and I hope that she was helped through that. But
I'm sure she was. It's amazing that you should say that, because I have two children, because I know my son is still with me, and my daughter is disabled, and we just don't. Since she was 13, she's 20. No, how old is she? Not 20. She's 36 now. 36, and she was diagnosed with MS when she was 23, and now she's at the point where she's in a wheelchair. I talk to her every day, but it's just talking. We're not really communicating. I share, like, what, you know, my awakening, I share with everybody. So, of course, I shared it with my son when he was still here, and my daughter. And I found out that my son is very proud of the work that I'm doing with him. Matter of fact, he calls himself my co-host from the other side. Yes. But you mentioned this lady, because I did see a documentary that you were in, but it wasn't that one.
That was on the channeling,
Yes, on channeling. I saw that. But you bring up, because like I said, you bring this up that you were able to tap into the people that are still here. And like my daughter is still on this side. Yeah. I try to communicate, but you know, I now from a spiritual perspective, even with my daughter's disability, I look at her as being perfect. Divine, you know, because we all are, and I cannot judge her path, her soul experience, you know. You know, so I always, when I interact with her, I always just look at her as a divine light and share with her. But sometimes I do say, I wonder what's going on in that head of hers. So, because she won't open up to me like that. So it's interesting. Now I've got a footnote, put a footnote in my notes that this is something you're able to do. Amazing, amazing. So now the Book of Truth. Like I said, I read at the lake. And I took your book. I think you saw it on Facebook. I take your book to the lake, and I start to read it. So let's get into the book a little bit. Share with our listeners what is the message of the Book of Truth. I love it. I love the title.
Well, I don't write my books. That's the first thing. The guides that I work with dictate them, and the Book of Truth is the document, the transcripts of those channeling sessions that the guides conducted with me, on the book. And the Book of Truth really is talking about a number of things, but one of the things that they're really saying is that, in truth, the divine truth, the eternal truth, a lie cannot be held. And as we reclaim who and what we truly are, which is the divine being in form, in manifestation, what we no longer align to are those things that were created in lower vibration: fear, war, all of these things that we've chosen to learn through. We have other opportunities to express ourselves. So the guides say that the energy of truth is here. It's a vibration, it's on the planet, and it's actually, they talk about it a bit as a tidal wave that's reclaiming everything that's not in alignment to the vibration of truth, which is a positive thing. But it does mean that those lies that we've become attached to about who and what we think we are, who other people are, or what things should look like because it's the way that they've been, that stuff is going to be challenged as we move through this. So the guides seem to be supporting us in aligning to this vibration so that we can swim with the tide, or rise with the tide if you wish, as opposed to trying to hang on to that stuff that's no longer operable.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And I love how you use vibrate, because I always refer to things now in vibrational terms. It's either something of a high vibration or a low vibration, not placing a judgment on it.
Exactly.
It is what it is. But I think most people would prefer the vibration of a higher vibration, which it just is a more pleasurable feeling, I would say.
I don't know that it's about a feeling, and I think pleasure is about an attachment to what we want. I mean, I like chocolate. It's not very good for me. I get great pleasure from eating it, but I'm already too heavy. So, is chocolate a high vibration? I don't know. I think the idea of high vibration has to do with less density and less sort of less of a cementing or codification of energy through projection and intention. So what that means is that everything that's been created, my guides say, has been created first in consciousness and then is manifest in form. And how we attend to those creations gives them, in some ways, the identity or the form or the names that they've carried. So while there's nothing wrong with the bank, it's just a place you can leave your money, what it's become is something very, very different through the collective. And we can say that the bank is in low vibration because everything that's attached to it is about control and commerce and what things should be and what things should mean and manipulation and all those things. But the idea of it itself is perfectly fine. Do you understand?
I do, yes.
The first bank was some hunter dropping his purse off for somebody else to hold while he went into the woods. That was the first bank.
Okay,
and,
wow.
It just becomes something else. So is the bank a dense structure? Yes. But anything the guides say that's been created can be recreated in a higher way. And that won't happen until we start to realize who we are. Because if we understand that we're an aspect of the divine in form, that changes our relationship to the material realm that we're existing in.
So true. Oh, you so beautifully said. So beautifully said. And I also have a name for that high vibration is love. Yeah, unconditional love. Yes. So yes, and knowing who we are, which is a divine aspect of God. That's who we each are. You know, everybody on the planet is a divine aspect of God. You know, you see a homeless man on the street or, you know, sleeping on a park bench. That's a divine aspect of God. And he's we're not no better, or we're all equally divine aspects of God.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Yes. So awesome. So would you like, I always, when I have a channel on the show, I offer the opportunity to bring a message through. Would you like to bring a message through from your guides? It's up to you.
It's really up to them, you know.
Okay.
I mean, they're working through me, but they've been known to say we are not the entertainment, you know, because that's not how they work. So we'd like to say something. They're saying, yes, we would like to say something, but I should say first that how I channel is a little odd. I whisper the words as they come and then repeat it. People hear things twice, but I mean, if they want to say something, we do. They're saying we do. We ask you. They're saying we ask you each one of you here, each one of you here in attendance to these words to decide for yourselves, to decide for yourselves that who and what you are, that who and what you are as the aspect of you are, as the aspect of the Creator that you are can be known and realized, can be known and realized. Hear these words, unless you decide that it can be known, that it can be known, can be realized as you, can be realized as you will inhibit yourself. You will inhibit yourself from your legacy, and the gift of the kingdom, and the gift of the kingdom that is here for you to claim, that is here for you to claim. The recognition of the divine in all things will be precluded by your resistance to it, Decide, friends, if you wish that you have the right legacy, that you have the right to the legacy of knowing who and what you are, of knowing who and what you are, and claiming it in form. The design as you is not theory. The divine as you is not theory, is not theory. It is expression. And they're saying period. Okay. So that's them.
So I from what I understand, they just said is, we are each that unique aspect of God, and we bring it through our expression. But go ahead.
What they're talking about, I think, I mean, that's what you heard it. Probably you heard it. I was busy speaking it. But what they've been saying is that who and what we are, and the what is the expression of it. So the idea that I'm a divine being in theory and everybody's a divine being in theory is comfortable when it suits me or when it suits somebody else, and that's where it stays in theory. The realization of it in manifestation is what they're taking us to. And that includes the body that we're standing, the bodies that we're standing in the world before us. It goes back to this idea, which is more than idea, but it's a huge teaching, and it's not mine, but, God is everything or nothing. Which way do you want it? Something is, if God is everything, that's including every cell in your body and the person next door that you can't stand, and the sun and the moon and all the things that we can't even see or conceive of. But we've been operating in this place of separation. One of the things the guides have been saying is that, we come from this history where God, or whatever we want to call God, is in the clouds and we're in the mud. They say, well, God is the mud too. And unless you realize that, you're going to be stuck in a place of separation. So they seem to be working with us. And what I heard them say, which I thought was actually interesting, was they said, say that this can be so. Because unless you say it can be so, you're not going to be able to hold it and realize it. The guides use the word realize and know in the same way. To know something is to realize it. To be in manifestation is to be in the realization of something that has, here to now, I suppose, been, up there on the shelf as perhaps a possibility. But we don't take something off the shelf and make it known to us unless we believe we can hold it or have the experience of it.
Oh, my heart is just so full, because I am so in alignment with that. It's just, and I always say to understand oneness from a intellectual perspective is not the same as knowing it in your heart, knowing. And I say to myself, I know. And in every now moment, I try to incorporate the knowing that we're all one, the knowing that terrorists, and I don't know what happened because I stopped watching news in 2001. My spirit told me, turn off that news and don't ever turn it back on after 9/11, and I was obedient. And at that time, I didn't know why, but I found out 11, 12 years later why. And when I hear, because people will email me and say, oh, this terrible thing just happened in Europe with terrorism, I just remind, the terrorist is not separate from us. There's no good or evil. There's no right or wrong. There's only oneness. They are a part of us. And I have just as much compassion for the terrorists as I do for the people that got hurt. And I know that it's all one. The yin and the yang, the yin and the yang symbol is dark and light. It's just, they're just different aspects of the same, the sameness. And so, and when I say that, I do get a lot of resistance to that, and I know you understand. So that's why I like having this show, so I can have a dialogue with people that understand the truth of oneness. It's one thing to say, oh yeah, that sounds so good, peace and oneness and love, and oh, that sounds good. But to actually live it in every now moment, regardless of what is happening in the world, because that's not real. That's not the truth.
Yes.
The truth is the oneness. The truth that is us. Yes.
Yeah. When the guides say, when something is true, it is always true.
Yes.
Truth isn't transitional depending on fashion or the politics of the day. And the eternal self, the divine in all of us, the guides would say, is what is true. The other things exist, but in a lower. It's a different construct. It's a different way of experiencing the world. I struggle with this teaching, but the guides have said, probably more than they've ever said anything else, is you can't be the light and hold another in darkness. You can't do it. It's hypocrisy. If you're the light on everything. You can't decide what gets to stay in the dark. They say whatever you put in the dark calls you right there to it. And then that's the alignment that you hold. And if you want to have that experience, you can. We're all having it because we're all continued to agree that some have the right to be and others don't. And if we don't like them, and I don't think, well, actually, that's not true. I don't think it's about like, and I don't think it's about standing up for integrity and truth in the face of other things. I think, we're all called to express the divine in remarkable and perhaps different ways. But yeah, I agree. It's a tough teaching. It is. Yeah. I think I hear you, and because of the conditioning, society's conditioning, it's so foreign. It's so different. It's the opposite, really, of what people have been raised by teachers, parents, teachers, society. Tell us something totally different. And so but for me, when something awoke inside of me, when I tapped into that divine essence of me, and it's telling me this is true, to me it became easy. That's right. You're a lucky woman.
It just, and that's why I'm so inspired just to share it, because I always say I don't call myself a teacher. All I can do is share my experience and hope that inspires you to go within, because the answers are within. And when you tap into that, it changes your world. It changes your life. You've experienced, so you know what I'm talking about. So going within is really is the truth. And like you said, if we hold anything, claim anything is bad or evil, we're not only bringing ourselves. We're calling ourselves bad and evil, because we are a part of that. There is no separation. It is, yes. So this is so amazing. So I love the fact that you're on the East Coast and you're not far from, I'm in the Poconos. So so I'm about an hour and a half from New York City. So I love the fact that, and I know this summer I'm going to get to the city. So I'm going to be knocking on your door. But I'm definitely going to follow you and try to catch one of your channelings in the city. But it's so true. And I do understand. But I also understand, like I was saying with my daughter, where she is, where her divine path has led her, and I can't place a judgment on it. So people that are not awake to this truth is okay, and they're perfect and divine exactly where they are. So the other big part of this teaching is the non-judgment and unconditional love. See, what I hear, and you hear the word unconditional. God is unconditional love. You hear that in church all the time. But God's going to send you to hell. Okay. I'm like, wait, that doesn't match up in my logic. Okay. It may match up in some people's logic, but that has never, I mean, I was sent to Catholic school in the 60s. And, you know, and I remember being 4 and 5 years old, hearing this, and I'm like, it doesn't make sense to me. But I was brought up where my dad said children are to be seen and not heard. So even though what was being taught to me never resonated with me, never made sense, I couldn't question it as a child. But I always think of the word unconditional love. Unconditional. Why society does not seem to embrace the truth of unconditional.
Well, I think there's real reasons for that. I mean, a lot of them on a personal level, which is what I'll speak to, and not the collective level, which is, I think some of this stuff has become entrenched, unfortunately, and is very fear-based. But on a very basic level, you know, we don't know that we're worthy of it. You know, the third book that the guides dictated through me was called The Book of Knowing and Worth. And they said, you know, if you go to a restaurant with $5 in your pocket, you're only going to order $5 worth of food. If you don't believe that you're worth more, you don't expect to receive more. You don't expect it. And we're always ordering, they say, off of the menu of what we think we're allowed to have. So if you've been told that you're unworthy of love, as many of us were in some way, in one way or another, you don't expect to receive it. And the idea that you could be loved, or that I could be loved unconditionally, is almost too abstract. Some people are very fortunate, you know. Now, one of the things I feel that the guides are trying to teach through me, or they're just doing there, I'm just the vocal piece, is that, you know, not only do we have the right, we have the ability to receive it. And some of this is done through claiming it, you know, and they say a claim of truth is always true. And the divine in each one of you knows who he is, who she is, and knows the inherent worth. So as we begin to align to that, hopefully, I hope, and this is just me speaking now, we begin to claim that experience that you're speaking of. But I think a lot of this separation has been institutionalized. And I think on a global level, and I think we're really having to move beyond these collective beliefs that we're not allowed to know ourselves as worthy. You know, worthy of love, worthy of freedom, worthy of grace, worthy of a relationship with the divine that is perhaps experiential and not just based in liturgy or history, but alive and with us now.
So true, so true. That it's wonderful, because I know everyone has heard of the Tao. Okay, I heard of it, and everybody knows a quote or two from the Tao, but I actually just started to read and study it this past weekend. And it's only 84 verses, and I'm only up to verse 25, because each verse I have to read and then contemplate on. So it's not one. I wouldn't recommend just reading it. But when each verse, I heard the truth of oneness. In each verse, I'm up to like 25, and it's like this one to me. I don't know. I think to me is, for me anyway, the truth of oneness is very simple. God is all there is. There's nothing outside of God, and if we exist, we're a part of God, because we can't exist.
That's it. You got it. You nailed it.
And to me, that's such a simple truth.
It is a simple truth.
You know, to me, that's such a simple truth. So I love when I do dive into new books like the Truth, the book you wrote, and now also the Tao. So I'm reading them both at the same time at the lake. That's the only place I ever read. Because when I'm home, I'm always too busy doing other, but at the lake, okay, and it's just to be in nature. It's amazing. But yeah, so that's why the title of this program, Awake to Oneness, came to me, because I wanted the show to just say what we're all about,
I understand.
So, yes. So tell us what's coming up. I know you say you lecture international, or you speak internationally, and so tell us what your summer is, because it's June. We're recording this, pre-recording this on the summer. I'm about to say winter. Summer solstice, June 21st today. So the longest day of the year.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Oh yes.
I didn't know we were on the solstice. I had no idea.
Yes, today is the solstice, and it's the longest day of the year. So summer officially begins today. Wonderful. So tell us what your summer is going to be like.
Well, this weekend I'm going to Los Angeles, and I'm going to be channeling a workshop in LA, and I'm going to be channeling a second workshop at the Agape Church, which is one of my favorite churches in the world. And then I'll be in Santa Barbara channeling for an evening. That's next weekend. No, that's 2 weekends from now. This is this weekend. And then I'm at the Omega Institute in Rhinebeck, New York.
Okay.
And then I'm going to be in London channeling for the first time. Then Birmingham, England, I'll be. And then I'm back in the city, and I've got workshops coming up all over the country. Wisconsin, I'll be there. I will be in... Where else? Boston coming up. I'm doing a one-day workshop in New York City that will be live streamed, so people can attend from wherever they are. And there's a lot more. I mean, I have an active calendar on my website, which is just my name, PaulSelig.com. But I do a live streamed workshop pretty much every Wednesday evening, which is done virtually, and people can attend. And that information's on the website as well. But my guides are teaching, and they're taking questions from people. And really, I'm not a guru. I'm not a spiritual teacher. I show up, and I hope the reception is clear for the dictation to come through. That's my job, is to show up, and often just show up when I don't wanna. So.
Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. A couple of things. I have been to Agape. When I first launched my program over 2 years ago, Reverend Michael was one of my first guests, and he invited me to Agape. So that's the first and only time I've ever been to LA. First and only time I've ever been on the West Coast. So it was an amazing experience.
Wonderful.
And like I said, everything. I don't channel the way you do and other people channel. I do. It's like a heartfelt thing for me, but I know when Spirit is speaking to me. And so starting this show 2 years ago was all from Spirit, and they spoke to me again in March, and they said, I need to start doing live events. So I am actually, so from that inspiration in early March, they told me exactly, they said, host an event, your first live event in Victoria, BC, Canada. Okay. I know nothing about Victoria, BC, but there are 3 of my former guests that are channels that are near Victoria. So instead of asking, I'm in the Poconos. Nobody knows. Most people don't even know what state the Poconos are in. I bet you do. What state? Okay, thank you. Most people think it's in upstate New York. We are close to upstate, but so my spirit said, okay, invite these 3 guests: Brad Johnson, Tina Louise Spalding, and Joanna L. Ross, who are there near Victoria. Matter of fact, Brad is right in Victoria, and host an event, a live event and live stream. This is what, and from that inspiration, we have formed, myself and 3 other organizations have formed a Universal Oneness Alliance. So, and the event is on September 3rd. It's my first live event, so I'm really excited. And like I said, if people can't make it to Victoria in person, it will be live stream, and they can find it. I need to put a link on my website to it, but the website is oneness.alliance.org. You can find all the information on that. I just had to share that. But it's just, like I said, when Spirit, urged me to do this, I'm like, huh? But I'm like, okay, if you say so.
That's how it works.
Yes.
I totally get it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm like, okay, I have no idea how, and it just, everything just fell into place so beautifully.
Good.
So this is, and I definitely, when you're in New York, because that's best for me to try to catch you, I'm going to go to your website. I'm going to find out when you're going to be in New York, and I'll be there. Be there. I am so excited. So do your guides have anything else they want to share with us? Because I love.
I hear if you wish, but we don't say what we'd like to say. But we would only say what we would like to say about the transition you're in, about the transition you are all in. You're all acclimating now. You are all acclimating now to what can be, to what can be, to what potentials may be known, to what potentials may be known. The understanding that you have outgrown a form of being is aware on a collective level what the new form is. But what the new form is, what predicated on choice, will be predicated on choice. You're all attending to this. You are all attending to this. Would each one of you decide? Would each one of you decide that the way forth is the way of love, is the way of love, that the way forth is the way of truth, is the way of truth, that the way forth is not bound by history, what we're taught to be, or what you were taught to be, or believe what will be claimed, but what will be claimed by each one of you in realization of your own divine worth, of your own divine worth. We have come to instruct. We have come to instruct and to shepherd as we are asked. As we are asked, you all make your own choices. The alignments that we offer, and the alignments that we offer are here for each of you, if you wish them, period.
So when they're done, they'll say period. Okay, well, I'm done.
Period, or stop now, please. One or the other.
Okay. I love that. Now, a question did come to me that I know a lot of people listening and viewing this are saying, how do we incorporate this truth into our daily lives?
Well, they're not talking about a subjective truth, like, I prefer, pasta to rice, that's your or this is good and this is bad. That's just opinion. They're talking about truth. Now, they say the truth is a vibration, it's a frequency, and it's present. And they support us in aligning to truth. And there's a claim of truth that they work with and they instruct us in, and they say that this is an attunement. It attunes the field to be in alignment. So this is how they say it, and this is the claim that your listeners or you can make if you so choose. I know who I am in truth. I know what I am in truth. I know how I serve in truth. I am free, I am free, I am free. Now, this is claimed by the true self, not the personality self who doesn't know who he or she is and doesn't know what she is, but it's claimed by the aspect of us that knows, the eternal self who is aligned to truth because it cannot not be in alignment to truth. And the idea of service is how we express at that level of vibration and truth. The claim, I am free, which is what they've been working with in the last maybe 8 months or so. I am free, I am free, I am free. They also say it's an attunement. But what they're saying we're free of is we're free of the claims made in history that would bind us or keep us in accord to lower choices, lower vibration, lower systems of control. So the claim I am free is the claim of the true self in liberation, because the true self is liberated. You're not making yourself free. The divine as you is always free. And as she announces this comes into the field and begins to remake your experience in the world.
So beautiful. I love that. Can you repeat that?
The
I
claim
love
of
that.
truth.
Well, the whole thing, the whole claim that you just said, that was
Sure.
great. Yes.
I know who I am in truth. I know what I am in truth. I know how I serve in truth. I am free. I am free. I am free.
Beautiful. I love that. I think that's just a beautiful thing to say first thing in the morning when you wake up, you know,
Yeah.
to attune yourself, to align yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That is beautiful. So, yeah. So that is a very good way for someone to start the day and maybe even end the night.
I hear if they so choose.
Yes.
The books have a lot of these things. I mean, the attunements are very specific, and many people can feel them energetically as they begin to work with them. They do work on the vibrational field. I mean, there's a whole buzzing that happens for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's an interesting phenomenon that seems to accompany the books, and it happens in the workshops too. But the books themselves are attunements to the vibration that the guides are working with. So,
yes,
there's words on the page, but the real book is the vibration.
Wow, wow, wonderful, wonderful. So, because I just feel that people are awakening. I truly do. One at, you know, each of us one at a time, and but a lot of people have that. You know, it's society and now the truth, which, you know, they're having and they just want, you know, tips. And like you said, if, like they said, like the guys said, if they choose, what resonates with them. And I always say that. And what resonates with each of us is going to be different and unique. And that's good. One of the things Reverend Michael said when he was on my program 2 years ago is that our differences is the spice of life. Our differences should bring us together, not pull us apart. Yeah.
Well said.
So, yes. So true. So true. And I know, all right, now you're going to be speaking at Agape this weekend, right?
This coming weekend on Sunday, yes.
Yes. Okay, and that's live stream. So, yes.
That is live stream. That's correct.
That is. Yes, it is.
Not at the service. I'm not speaking at the service. I'm doing a workshop after that's being live streamed.
Okay.
So I'm sure that information is probably on their site.
I'm sure. Yes. Okay. Yes. Agape, and that's agapelive.com. I believe I said the URL correctly. I love agape because some people don't know what the word agape means. Mm-hmm. It's unconditional love. Yes. So tell me, you do a lot of workshops. So what are some of the common questions you get?
Well, the common questions, I mean, the guides teach, and I don't know what they're going to teach at any workshop, and then they open up for questions on the teaching, and then they usually make time for people to ask questions about their lives and their families and things like that, because that's where the psychic work comes in a bit more, and then the guides will pipe in. But sometimes some of the basic things is, I would hear like, your guides talk about service. I don't know how I serve. And the guides say, well, the divine self as you is who serves. So the claim, I know who I am, I know what I am, I know how I serve, calls you forward towards that service, because the true self is you. The true self and expression is how you serve. God as you is how you serve. You see what that's, and God knows what it needs to do in order to express itself. So the small self or the personality self doesn't have to decide this stuff.
Right.
Move into the higher alignment. So that would be one question that's asked pretty frequently.
Well, I do hear that question myself a lot. Well, how do I find my purpose? It's kind of a way.
Same question.
Yes. And I just quiet the mind, however it works to quiet your mind and listen to the heart. Because the personality, the personality is going to be in that mind. Quiet it. Say, hush. Ego, hush personality, hush you. I call it human consciousness. I just quiet that human consciousness, listen to the heart, and it'll come. It'll
Wonderful.
come. It's just one of the things I keep an appreciation journal that I write in every morning. And one of the things I always say, I'm so thankful I do know my purpose. It's this show to help inspire the world to awaken to the truth of oneness, because it changed my life so dramatically. And I don't know if I shared with you how that awakening happened. It was in 2007, watching a film on quantum physics, What the Bleep. And there was one sentence that was shared by Lynn McTaggart, who has been a guest here. She said, the biggest problem in the world today is the illusion of separateness.
Yeah.
And when she said that, something inside of me woke up. It was just, and I can't even explain it, but it's like, yeah, that is so, so true. And it's so true and so simple all at once. Wonderful. So from there, I try, it's funny because when you have that experience, I know for me, you want to share it with everybody around you. Your friends is like, oh, you got to watch this. Yeah. And they watch it and they're like, I don't get what you're talking about. So that's so funny that, okay, they didn't have the same experience I had. But, so I had to, as I grew in my knowing of the oneness, had to grow and say, okay, they're perfect, they're divine. Theirs just might come a different way. So it's the non-judgment aspect of the oneness is so key. So and in human form, it's so easy to start judging. I mean, because it's for me, it's a moment to moment thing. Remind myself, okay, if I'm judging this person, whatever I'm calling this person, I'm calling myself.
That's right.
Yeah. So this has been such a wonderful. Now I must ask you, because I believe it was your assistant who contacted me. How did she find me?
I didn't find you. There's a new book out, and it may have been the publicist from Tarcher Perigi. It may have been that department.
Okay.
They've been setting up the press and the media for the new book. This is one of the times I get out there.
I see. So they found me. Well, I'm glad they found me. Because the interesting thing about that is they contacted me, and I had already set up this program with you, but I still didn't know anything. All I knew is I read, whatever they send out. I was like, okay, that sounds good. Yeah, let's go with it. So, but I live on YouTube. So a couple of weeks after I set this program up, you were doing, you posted a video for your upcoming with Agape, and you kind of introduced how you got your Kundalini awakening. You started talking about, and I was like, wait a second, because I saw. Here's the funny thing. I was like, I gotta have him on my show. Wait a second, he's already scheduled for my show. That's the funny thing. That was the funny moment. You already have him. So that's great. Yes. This has been so amazing.
Well, thank you for having me.
I love having you. And I just love, like you said, having these conversations with people that are awake is just it touches my heart. Sometimes I almost feel like crying from joy because my heart is so full with love. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're heading to LA, but you'll be back next week to the East Coast. And what do you know when you'll be having another workshop in New York City?
I can tell you.
Okay.
I'm going to look at my little calendar.
Okay.
I believe it is, the Omega Institute is in Rhinebeck, New York, and I'll be there. But the next New York City workshop is on July 30th.
Okay.
At the Hotel Inc. in New York City. And it's an all-day workshop, and that'll be live streamed as well, so people can join virtually.
Awesome. I'm going to try to make it there live.
Love to have you.
That would be great. Oh, thank you so much. I am just so honored. And I recommend highly. I love the fact about your books being how did you word it? Where it helps, it helps the reader raise their vibration.
Yes.
And I read that in the very beginning when I started reading your book, which I think is so amazing. Now, put it in your words or your guide's words. It's an attunement or
attunement to vibration. Yes,
attunement
to the energy that they work with.
Awesome. I love that. Well, thank you so much. It has been my honor and my pleasure, and I hope to meet you and hug you on July 30th.
I hope to see you there. Take good care.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much. Bye-bye.